Houston, we've got a problem. Now, currently, the NFL's Houston Texans are renegotiating their lease at NRG Stadium with Harris County. And that current lease is set to expire in 2032. Now, the Texans are requesting about $1.5 billion of renovations to NRG Stadium in order to re-up that lease. And the Texans are expecting the taxpayers of Harris County to foot the bill. There's one little tiny problem, though, with the plan. Harris County is out of money. That's right, Harris County is broke. The Harris County Houston Sports Authority, which is the joint venture between Harris County and the city of Houston, that's the entity that financed construction of NRG Stadium. They still owe $1 billion on that stadium that was built in 2002. So one has to wonder, if Harris County is going to foot this bill for quote-unquote renovations to NRG Stadium, who the hell is going to pay for it? Especially when the county still owes $1 billion on a stadium that's 23 years old. Now, what's even more interesting than that, though? The Houston Chronicle is speculating that this renovation figure, which floats between $1 and $2 billion, that the Texans claim is needed to quote-unquote fix NRG Stadium. Some are saying, or some are speculating, that that number is being inflated by the Texans in order for them to get another stadium built. Because if renovations indeed are expected to be $1.5 or $2 billion, a common question, a logical question would be, well, hell, why don't we just build a new stadium? The problem is this stadium is only 23 years old. It's not an old rust bucket that's falling apart. Either way you cut it, though, if Harris County just wants to pay $1 billion to renovate NRG, or if the Texans have somehow convinced Harris County to pony up $2 billion for another new stadium, the question remains the same. Where is this money coming from? Now, what I find to be especially intriguing is that the Texans are expecting the taxpayers to pick up the tab for whatever happens next, if it's renovation or another brand new stadium. But according to the Houston Chronicle, the Houston Texans franchise essentially stays rent-free in NRG Stadium. The small amount of rent the Texans are charged by the county is easily offset by annual tax breaks the franchise gets. So when it comes right down to it, each and every year, the Texans pay $0 to play at NRG Stadium, literally living rent-free in a pleasure palace. And as far as revenue goes, the Texans took in over $600 million of revenue in 2023, and their overall valuation, in other words, the value of the total franchise, is $6.1 billion. So they're not exactly hurting for money. And that's why it's an absolute travesty that this franchise is coming to Harris County and demanding another $1 billion or $2 billion from the taxpayers. With the amount of revenue the Texans are pulling in every year, they could easily take out a loan themselves and self-finance any kind of stadium renovation or even a new stadium, if that's what they wanted to do. But let's be honest, the NFL is not a charity. It is a business. And the business model of the NFL is quite simple. You set up your franchise in an area, preferably a very big, heavily populated city, and you suck that city dry. You get as much funding from that city and or county as you can, and you keep sucking them dry until there's nothing left. And when there's nothing left, you move on to another destination and repeat the process all over again. It's a great business model if you're the NFL, because it works. It works to perfection. And they perfected the model so well that now NFL franchises are demanding brand new stadiums every 25 years. So from the NFL's perspective, homelessness doesn't matter. Flood abatement doesn't matter. Crappy roads, lack of any kind of county services, none of these things matter. The only thing that matters to the NFL is soaking up as much taxpayer money as possible. It's an old adage in business. It's way better to spend other people's money than your own. And the NFL is an expert at doing that. And I know we have the public service announcements of the NFL setting up shop and having days at hospitals and having days at food banks, and that is wonderful. That is great, and it is a wonderful thing to see. But we need to be honest with ourselves. These NFL franchises are making more money from the community than they are giving back. That's called business. And for them, it is a great business. But it's not so great for the taxpayers who are now expected every 25 years to pony up $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 billion for brand new sparkling pleasure palaces. Pleasure palaces that the vast majority of people inside that city or county can never afford to go to. Pleasure palaces that soak up taxpayer money and leave that city or that county on the verge of bankruptcy. The fact that there is a single homeless person at all in the city of Houston or in Harris County right now, when that county owes over $1 billion in debt for a football stadium, is outrageous. And the fact that the NFL team that is playing and living rent-free in that stadium is now demanding another $2 billion from those taxpayers is absolutely insane. The old saying, you can't get blood from a turnip, well, the turnip has been sucked dry. There is nothing left in Harris County to bleed. Because not only does the county owe over $1 billion for a football stadium it built 23 years ago, it's running an annual deficit of $130 million. So unfortunately, there's no action left in Harris County for the Texans. So what happens next? I suspect what happens next is this. The Texans franchise will move a county over. They will build a new stadium out in the suburbs of Houston. And if that is the way it goes down, I would suggest Harris County do this. Instead of saddling themselves with another $1 billion or $2 billion worth of debt for a football stadium, how about you promote the products that are already in your city and that will forever be in your city? Products which actually give back to the community a whole hell of a lot more than the NFL franchise does. Products like the University of Houston, like Texas Southern, like Rice University. These three universities are already located within the city limits. They are educating and graduating thousands of students each year, the bulk of which stay in the Houston area. So if you're going to throw around money for football stadiums and you're going to invest into athletics programs, why not invest into programs that actually give back to the community? Why not make life easier for the University of Houston, for Texas Southern, for Rice University as well? All three of these programs would greatly benefit from higher attendance. And with Harris County investment, that could be very achievable. So instead of making a billionaire NFL owner even richer, why not invest those funds into the local colleges and universities and help everybody? A second alternative, which I find to be completely intriguing, is for all the counties in the Houston metro area to pool their resources together and to purchase the Texans outright. The current valuation of the Texans franchise is a little over $6 billion. And that franchise is currently making well over $500 million each year in revenue. If the 9 counties of the Houston metro area pooled their resources together, I'm quite confident that they can come up with $6 billion in order to purchase the Texans franchise. I say I'm quite confident because obviously the Texans franchise is a big money maker. You're going to get a huge return on your investment with that $6 billion. Unlike springing for new stadiums every 25 years, which only leaves you with $1 billion or more of debt. So if I'm Harris County, instead of continuously springing for new stadiums every 25 years, I would pool my strength with the 8 other surrounding counties in the Houston metro area, get financing together for about $6 billion, and purchase the team outright. And you can massage that organization of counties any way you like to comply with NFL rules about team ownership. But that would be a far wiser investment strategy. Just buying the franchise outright, getting that big return on investment, and that could lead to ROI paychecks for each of these counties every single year. Of course, there is option 3. This would be the worst of all, and that would be for Harris County to pile on another $1 billion or $2 billion of debt onto their books so that the NFL owner billionaire can make just a little bit more money every single year. Hopefully that's not the option that's chosen, but with Harris County, you never know. In any case, I thought this was a very fascinating story. The Texans hitting up the taxpayers of Harris County for another $1 billion or maybe $2 billion for renovations or quite possibly for another brand new Pleasure Palace football stadium. As always, I'd love to hear what you have to think about this. This is Kevin Newsom saying God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.